Imagine this moment. You're standing in a room full of people. You've smiled all evening. You've listened, adjusted, softened your words so no one feels uncomfortable. And suddenly, it hits you. No one has asked how you are. Your chest tightens, not with anger, but with clarity. Something inside you quietly says, I can't do this anymore. I'll explain later why this moment is not a breakdown, but an awakening. If you're an empath, you were praised for being understanding, patient, easy to be around. You learned early that harmony mattered more than honesty. So you became good at reading moods, anticipating needs, smoothing tension. But what no one told you is that over time, pleasing everyone slowly disconnects you from yourself. Stay with me, because in a few minutes I'll show you how this pattern begins and why stopping it feels terrifying at first. When an empath stops pleasing, silence follows, and silence feels unbearable. Not because you are weak, but because silence removes your role. You are no longer fixing, helping, adjusting. You are left alone with yourself, with your thoughts, with your feelings, with the question you've avoided for years: who am I when I stop performing for love? Silence feels hard because your nervous system learned safety through connection. Approval meant calm. Being needed meant belonging. So when you step back, your body reacts as if something is wrong. It urges you to reach out, to explain, to make sure everyone is okay with you. I'll come back to where this urge comes from, because it did not start in your adult life. Here is the truth. Silence is not punishment. Silence is space, and space reveals reality. When you stop pleasing, you stop feeding false balance. You allow relationships to show you what they are, without your effort holding them together. Self-betrayal ends where self-respect begins. Chasing feels loving, but it slowly lowers your position. When you chase approval, attention, or understanding, you send a message without words. You tell others that your needs are negotiable. You teach them that you will stay even when you are unseen. Even if they respond, it is not from equality. It is from comfort. And comfort, without respect, always costs you something. You may think, if I don't reach out, I'll lose them. This is the first curiosity loop I promised. Later, I'll explain why the relationships that fall apart when you stop pleasing were never balanced to begin with, and why losing them creates space for truth. Empaths often confuse love with effort. You are taught that if you care enough, things will work out. But real connection does not require you to disappear. It does not require constant explaining or emotional labor. When you stop chasing, you are not withdrawing love. You are withdrawing self-abandonment. Self-betrayal ends where self-respect begins. Silence is powerful because it shifts authority back to you. When you stop reacting, you start observing. You notice who respects your pause. You notice who becomes uncomfortable when they no longer have access to your emotional energy. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. At first, guilt will appear. Guilt will tell you that you are selfish, cold, or changed. That guilt is old. It belongs to a time when your worth depended on how useful you were to others. Feeling guilty does not mean you are wrong. It means you are doing something new. Here is the second curiosity loop. In a moment, I'll explain how stopping people-pleasing doesn't just change you, it changes how others perceive you, and why this shift often brings both loss and respect at the same time. When you stop pleasing everyone, you may feel lonely even while being surrounded by people. That loneliness is not emptiness, it is honesty. It shows you where you are being liked instead of known. That awareness can hurt, but it is also freeing. Your awakening does not start with confrontation. It starts with stillness, with not replying immediately, with not explaining yourself, with allowing silence to exist without rushing to fill it. In that stillness, you begin to hear your own needs again, needs you've been silencing to keep peace. This is not about becoming harsh. It is about becoming real. You can be kind without being compliant. You can be loving without being available to everyone. You can care deeply and still choose yourself. If you are a woman who has spent years pleasing, this will feel uncomfortable. You will feel like you are doing something wrong. You are not. You are recalibrating. You are teaching your nervous system that you can be safe without performing. As we continue, I'm going to show you what actually changes when you stop pleasing, how others respond when your energy shifts, and how to stay grounded when old habits try to pull you back. For now, let this settle. The empath doesn't awaken by trying harder. She awakens the moment she stops betraying herself. When you step back from pleasing everyone, something important happens inside your mind and body. Psychology tells us that patterns feel safe even when they hurt. For a long time, pleasing was your way of staying connected. Your nervous system learned that harmony meant survival. So when you stop, your system reacts as if you've broken a rule. Anxiety rises, thoughts race. You wonder if you've gone too far. This reaction does not mean you're wrong. It means your system is adjusting to a new definition of safety. Stepping back works because it interrupts an old loop. The loop where someone is uncomfortable and you rush in to fix it. The loop where silence feels dangerous and you fill it with explanations. When you stop doing that, the dynamic changes, not dramatically, quietly. And quiet change is often the most honest. Self-betrayal ends where self-respect begins. Something also changes in their mind when you stop reaching out. When you were always available, your presence was predictable. Predictability can be comforting, but it can also become invisible. When you step back, your absence is felt. Not because you are punishing anyone, but because the emotional labor you are providing is no longer there. If someone values you, curiosity appears. They begin to reflect. They wonder what shifted. They feel the loss of access. If someone relied on your pleasing to avoid their own responsibility, discomfort shows up. Either way, truth surfaces. Silence does not manipulate. Silence clarifies. This is where many empaths struggle the most. The urge to text, the urge to call, the urge to explain yourself just one more time so the tension will go away. When that urge hits, pause. Do not fight it. Do not shame it. Name it. Say quietly, this is discomfort, not danger. Give yourself a pause window. Tell yourself you can reach out tomorrow. Most urges peak and pass if you don't act on them. Your body is asking for regulation, not connection. Meet the need without reopening the pattern. Change your physical state. Stand up. Stretch. Wash your hands in warm water. Take a slow breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. These small actions tell your nervous system that you are safe now, not abandoned. Another practical step is to write what you want to send, but don't send it. Let the words come out on paper or in your notes. Expression is often what you're seeking, not response. Once expressed, the urgency usually softens. Self-betrayal ends where self-respect begins. You also need to redirect your daily focus. Silence without structure turns into rumination, and rumination drains you. Structure grounds you. Begin to organize your days around stability instead of emotional checking. Focus on your body first. Sleep, nourishment, and movement are not basic tasks. They are emotional regulation tools. A tired body creates anxious thoughts. A rested body creates perspective. Focus on one thing at a time. Multitasking keeps you scattered and reactive. Presence brings you back to yourself. When your attention is here, it cannot spiral into imagined conversations or outcomes. Also, notice where your energy goes, who occupies your thoughts, who you talk about most. Awareness is not judgment. It's information. Information gives you choice. When you stop pleasing, guilt often appears. Guilt says you're being selfish, distant, or unkind. That guilt belongs to an old belief that your worth comes from being useful. You are not abandoning anyone. You are returning to yourself. Self-betrayal ends where self-respect begins. As days pass, something steadier forms. You become less reactive. You stop scanning the room emotionally. You stop adjusting before anyone even asks. This doesn't make you cold. It makes you present. Presence has weight. People feel it. You may notice that some connections fade. This is painful but honest. Those connections were sustained by your effort, not mutual care. At the same time, other connections deepen. You are no longer performing. You are relating. Anger may surface too. Anger about how much you gave, how often you stayed quiet, Anger is not something to suppress. It is a signal that a boundary was crossed. Listen to it without acting it out. Let it inform your future choices. Daily focus also means rebuilding identity. Who are you when you are not pleasing? What do you enjoy without an audience? What parts of yourself were put aside to keep peace? Invite them back gently. There is no rush. Spend time with people who don't require performance. Spend time alone without distraction. Learn to sit with yourself without fixing anything. This is where self-trust grows. Self-betrayal ends where self-respect begins. As you continue stepping back, clarity replaces confusion. You stop asking, "What did I do wrong?" and start asking, "What is actually happening here?" That question changes everything. In the next part, we'll talk about what happens when others respond to this shift, what to do if they come closer, and what it means if they don't, and how this awakening, though uncomfortable, becomes the foundation for relationships built on truth instead of self-erasure. For now, stay with the practice. You are not losing connection. You are losing illusion. If they come back, this is where your awakening becomes real, not in what you say, but in how you move. When someone returns after you stop pleasing, old habits will try to pull you in. You may feel the urge to soften, to reassure, to prove you are still the same. Pause. You are not here to return to who you were. You are here to see who they are when you no longer abandon yourself. Let their actions speak, not their apologies, not their sudden intensity. Watch consistency. Watch how they respond to your boundaries. Boundaries do not need speeches. They live in your behavior. You no longer over-explain. You no longer rush. You allow things to unfold at a pace that feels calm in your body. Pace is protection. Standards are not demands. They are quiet requirements. Respect, effort, emotional presence. You do not chase these. You observe whether they are offered. If someone truly wants access to you, they will meet you where you stand. If they resist your boundaries, that resistance is information. You don't argue with information. You learn from it. Self-betrayal ends where self-respect begins. Now, if they don't come back, something else happens. The waiting stops. The constant emotional scanning ends. Silence finishes its work. It gives you the truth without forcing you to beg for it. Not returning is not rejection. It is clarity. Closure does not come from one last conversation. Closure comes from accepting what someone is able or willing to give. You don't need them to understand your pain for it to be valid. You don't need permission to move forward. Grief may appear. Let it. You are not grieving just a person. You are grieving the version of yourself that kept hoping if you just tried harder, things would change. That grief deserves compassion, not judgment. Moving forward with dignity means you don't rewrite the story to make yourself smaller or then blameless. You tell the truth gently. You gave. You waited. You adjusted. And then you stopped. That stopping is not failure. It is growth. Silence reveals truth either way. If they return with steadiness, you learn what is possible. If they don't, you learn what was never solid. Both outcomes free you from confusion. Confusion drains you. Confusion drains you. Clarity steadies you. Self-betrayal ends where self-respect begins. This is where your life starts to feel different. You stop confusing intensity with intimacy. You stop mistaking attention for care. You stop believing that love requires you to disappear. You become more selective, not because you are afraid, but because you are present. Let me bring this together quickly. You stopped pleasing and allowed silence. You noticed who respected the pause and who didn't. You learned to regulate your urges instead of obeying them. You shifted your focus from keeping others comfortable to keeping yourself grounded. You let truth rise without forcing outcomes. This is the awakening. Here is one clear action step. Choose one relationship where you normally over-explain or over-give. For the next week, practice responding instead of reacting. Speak less. Observe more. Let your body guide you. If tension rises, breathe and stay. Do not fix. Do not rescue. Let the dynamic show itself. Self-betrayal ends where self-respect begins. End this chapter calmly. You are not cold. You are clear. You are not distant. You are discerning. You have not lost your empathy. You have finally placed it where it belongs, with yourself. When an empath stops pleasing everyone, she does not become less loving. She becomes more honest, and honesty is where real connection begins. If you want to go deeper into how to build relationships that don't require self-erasure, watch the next video.